So basically, we are expecting a little bit more revenue due to the fact that we actually have water to sell and that we are not restricting people, and we are seeing increases in consumption certainly over the drought years. It's not a huge increase. In other words, it's not back to where we were in 2013. We're still seeing low numbers, though people are not replanting half acre of turf. But on page 22, I put the summary in front just because I thought it was kind of an easy page to refer back to. It totals up the revenue and operating expenses, and then the middle section of that adds in the loan payments and the capital improvements and studies, and then adds back in the bottom section of that the items that are the depreciation, using the depreciation line, which is revenue that we put in the expense budget to be able to fund our capital replacement program. GASB 45, adding that back in is simply we have on the books we have an obligation to put money into funding future cost of medical insurance, okay? And that's an amount that at some point we should be putting that into trust. That's my recommendation. That money would actually be funded into a trust, and then it reduces that obligation in the future. So that's that obligation in the future. So that's something that many agencies are doing. It helps them be able to get that fund up and pay for that cost now, since it occurs over a long period of time, instead of putting it off out in the future when today's employees retire and we've got past employees we're paying for and all that. And then if you go on to the next page is more detail on the revenue.
Where does it go?
More detail on the revenue, again, the increases are from what we had budgeted last year. We expect to see an increase in the amount of water. That is consumed. Also, we have a new source of revenue in the lease fee that we expect to have occur sometime this year, and that is with AT&T. That's looking for a half of a year of lease revenue at the $1,800 a month.
Oh, okay, that's
It's just on the detail revenue.
Okay.
Because we have one other company that occupies a couple sites, so we have some revenue from them as well. But the amount from AT&T will be double what the other people are paying us once they're up and running. So then the expenses, again, we had the preliminary budget that was approved in June, and this is the final budget, so there have been a few changes. The expenses for regular pay are higher than what they were budgeted last year, and that's because the board has chosen to go with, at the recommendation of management, with change in the organizational structure to have a general manager, to have an operations manager that's in charge of all the operation, and then to have an operations lead that serves as the operations manager in their absence, and also the operations manager can serve as general manager in the absence of the general manager. If that's something you desire. And then also an operator, a certified operator. So there'll be 3 people in the field full-time and certified at the right level. And so that's the expectation, is that those people would be there. We budgeted to have them there the entire year within the salary range that we get approved. We did that based on a salary survey. The operations manager, just to go back to last month's staff report, that might be a good place to start with making the public aware of that staff report. And then the board meeting prior to that, we had a conversation about it too. Basically, there is a huge amount of infrastructure that needs attention, everything from the fire hydrants that we keep hearing about, and to developing a training program.
That letter, I'm looking for that letter that was from the engineer.
Right.
Does your budget cover all of those items?
Yeah. Let me get down to that. Let me cover the staff position first, because it's good. So basically, managing the employees from the date of their hire, developing and improving the safety program, the facility inspection, facility maintenance program, implementing that per the board's requirements and everything that we want to get done according to industry standards. That's why we set up that position, to be responsible for implementing those programs and overseeing to make sure that they're done. Vehicles, maintenance of the vehicles, replacement of the vehicles, and that is something that is, for at least the foreseeable future, is going to require hands-on development of employees, because we've got a complete changeover in our staff. We've seen it several times, and so we're jumping from one crisis to another. We want to look toward the future and make sure that we've got this district and the operation running the way that the board can expect that it's going to be reliable, and that when we're putting money into it, we're putting money into the right investments. That's going to require a hands-on understanding of the operation and being there to lead and develop the crew. Because right now, trying to develop this crew from nothing and with no experience, in the years that they've been here, in many cases they haven't had the experience with a pressure regulating valve or to understand how to troubleshoot and fix the meters that we have, or the way that the pressure regulating valves work together to function the system, or the pumps and those kind of things. It's extremely mechanical, and any of you that have been in the trades know what kind of training that takes. Well, somebody's got to design and implement a training program too. We can always go out and get a training program put together for us, but then somebody has to be scheduling their people into it on a regular basis and making sure they get the time and leadership to pass it.
So let's focus on why we're kind of getting, I'll say, really into the details of what the expectations, but we feel that we need somebody to really, I'll say, facilitate as a manager's role, or I'm going to use the word leadership role here too, because we've had, I'll say it, I haven't had a lot of gamuts of, we had a working manager, we've had this, we've had that, and nothing has seemed, so it's kind of like a new model for us to have, having, like I say, an administrative individual, and then we're going to have an operational individual. And when I say administrative individual, I'm not referencing that as Cindy's position.
Right.
I'm saying we're having an administrative manager to keep the district in compliance, go out and seek new opportunities that we've never done before. I know it's time consuming, it's cumbersome and all those things, but we're kind of doing things a little differently. So I want to make sure we have the distinction of the roles here in a little kind of on a global basis.
Yeah, I think it's because it started at the discussion about management, and what you want to do in the future.
So this individual will be a working operations manager responsible for the day-to-day activities that would meet what we're looking for.
And we're missing a person right now. That if we had that position filled right now, we would be in much better shape than.
Well, right now we have, by the one individual, which we know we can't talk too much, is we have someone ill, and then another individual has decided.
Danny, you have to be careful if you put any employee information out there.
Okay, but we've got somebody.
Not do that.
Yeah, so the,
Sorry.
I'm hard to talk about, we're understaffed right now.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to make sure when we are fully staffed, and this is, again, that's the recommendation I made at the last meeting, was when we're fully staffed, we've got to make sure we're setting up to advance people within so that the best case scenario is there's competition for that operations manager position by 2 people. That's the best case scenario. You got 2 hungry people underneath them that really want that spot when they go. And they're gaining the skills, experience, and knowledge and really, really pushing hard. Really want that spot when they go. And they're gaining the skills, experience, and knowledge and really, really pushing hard. And also redundancy. You know, so that when you've got one person out long-term, surgery, whatever, injury, that you've got the ability to be able to cover on a minimal basis what you've got going on, and augment that with contractors and different things if things are happening on a one-at-a-time basis.
Can you clarify something for just a second? You said 2 people are hungry for what job?
Operations manager.
And what is it?
Operations manager. What I'm saying is that if you have a staff of 3, one is an operator, one's an operations lead, and the other is the operations manager.
There's something I never heard before. Operations lead, that's it.
Well, that was part of the,
I missed one meeting when you did this stuff, so that's okay, that's fine.
but it was at the last meeting.
Operations lead,
Yeah.
yeah.
But those, even if it was 2 operators and the operations manager, it would still, the best case scenario is you've got those 2 at the bottom that are competing to get the certification and experience and showing the drive and everything, so that you can move people up. I mean, you know, a lot of people are looking for that advancement opportunity as well. They may never get it. Somebody may
Seems
get
like
the
a logical projection would be to go to the operations lead before you go to this operations
sure.
manager. And if you have 2 people that are hungry, be the manager, this doesn't make sense to me what you're doing. Go ahead.
I'm just saying.
It seems like a really big leap of experience to me, to be the manager, as opposed to a lead.
I wasn't talking about in that regard.
Okay.
In leapfrogging, I was just talking about 2 really good people.
I agree with that.
Okay. The other major changes to the preliminary budget, when you go, let me get to the right page. This is on page 27. Anywhere where you see a 0 in the column under 2017-18 preliminary, and then you see a number in the right-hand column, which is the draft, that means it was not originally included in the preliminary budget that you considered in June. So, for example, tablets for system maintenance in the field. Unfortunately, the way of the world is technology, and we are, especially with having to bring in new people that don't have the familiarity with the system, when they're looking for a valve or looking for a main or looking for exactly where to dig or to troubleshoot a problem, right now we've got paper drawings that we have to keep current copies of, so that we can roll them out on the hood of the truck and take a look at where things are. Not a big deal. It's really not a problem. And then if we are going out to maintain a pump, I need an operations manual for the pump. We got to go to the file.
Where does it go? Where does it go? Where does it go?